praise the Lord. I think I'ma join the choir, cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field, we had Glocks with extensions, it was wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir, cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field, we had Glocks with extensions, man, this chicken got real wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir. What you know about losing your best friend, or losing your best man, losing your blood brother from a senses, wishing you can free him again. All the real niggas put y'all hands in the air for the real niggas y'all can lost. All the real niggas chunk y'all gang in the air for all the bitch niggas y'all done taught. Man, this shit got real crazy, feel like we losing niggas on the daily. All I had tears in my eyes, anger said somebody need to die. I was trying to get some get back, they killed my homie of a bitch, nigga. I be down, won't get my get back. Let's crack and look at me wrong, that boy about to get his shit pushed back. I think I'ma join the choir, cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field, we had Glocks with extensions, it was wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir, cause we was sinning, we was hanging in the field, we had Glocks with extensions, man, this chicken got real wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. Oh, we was sinning, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir.
Question: do you and the non-custodial parent often fall out every time tax time come around? And is it because the non-custodial parent feel that they take care of their kids just as well as you do and they have the right to claim the child? Well, here's what you can do. I have a solution. So there's a form 8332 that allows the custodial parent to release their right to claim the child to the non-custodial parent. But hold up, I know you're probably thinking, well, I don't want to do that all the time. Well, that very same form will allow you to revoke that right as well. So talk with your non-custodial parent. You all come to an agreement to determine what years you're going to claim the child and what years they are going to claim the child. And if anything goes wrong, keep in mind that you can use this very same form 8332 to revoke the right of the non-custodial parents to claim the child. Now don't say I ain't tell you now.
Okay, tips and tricks for non-custodial parents, Volume 1. The first thing to being a successful non-custodial parent is that you need to accept that your money is not yours. It is the custodial parents, because they provide everything that you give to them to the children. All of your funds are used for the children. So, because of this, I recommend a couple things. One, you need to immediately petition the court for the minimum visitation time possible so that you can go without a home. You need to own a vehicle, 2006 or older, I recommend, because you're not going to have a payment, and because now you have the minimum visitation, even if you break down while driving the kids somewhere, minimal exposure, because it's going to be like every other weekend max. You also need to cancel all your subscriptions like Disney Plus, Netflix, your internet, 1-800-CONTACTS, all that kind of stuff. And you might think, oh, well, those apply to the kids, though. No, that is a cop-out, sir. You do not need to be, like, storing your cash in some subscription plan, all right? So, when it comes time to where you're struggling to find food, I recommend gardening. There's, like, areas you can sneak into state parks and stuff like that, where you can put up a small garden spot. And you might think, well, what time, how do you garden like this time of the year, for example? It's early spring. Well, right now is prime grub harvesting season. So there's a garden pest called the Japanese beetle. They're pretty much everywhere, and other pests too. But they start out as grubs in the earth. So if you dig those out with like a rock or a stick, you can eat those, and they're very nutritious. And then they have the two birds with one stone per se kind of benefit of then not getting to develop into beetles that eat your garden. Another way that I recommend saving is if you just don't ever do anything ever. No, that's it. That's all of it. There's nothing more to that. Just don't do anything ever. But you are gonna have to keep your job to keep the money through. So, if you can get away with it, don't own a vehicle. Just walk to work, if you can do that. But yeah, more to come.
Listen to this.
So this guy says, I pay $650 a month in child support for my oldest daughter, my 10-year-old. Y'all still see her with me every day? You can't let that stop you from still being a father. This is very interesting, because this says that child support is not causing turmoil in a co-parenting relationship, because obviously this man is co-parenting and he's having his child every day. He's co-parenting very well. So that brings me to the question of, do we really have a particular type of man that we're dealing with who have a problem with taking care of their child? Is this a misogynistic type thing where maybe that particular guy is the one who is weaponizing the child and also weaponizing child support and not providing for that child as a form of control? Now, this right here is very interesting. I think this kind of changed the game for us.
All right. Welcome to the Too Much Moxie podcast. I am your humble host, Too Much, and I'm definitely in the building. What's going down, everybody? We got a good show for you guys today, man. We're coming up with a topic, man, that I haven't discussed before on this show, but I've been wanting to. We're going to bring up a guest of mine, a good buddy of mine, Jesse Calligraphy Jones. Y'all see the thumbnail. Non-custodial parents versus custodial parent. Non-custodial parent versus custodial parent. Man, we know the family courts is crazy, isn't it? It's really crazy. It's really crazy out there. If you really think about family court, it's not, we have all this talk, especially on my channel. We talk about modern women, right? We talk about the bad behavior of these modern women, right? We talk about the reason why men are not dating anymore, reason why men are checking out, they're not taking dating seriously. We talk about how in this country everything is just lopsided. Feminism. Women have invaded men's spaces and put men in corners. They've taken over. They've pretty much taken over, right? And it's like, what's the purpose of getting married today, right? What's the purpose of getting married today when the man can lose so much? It's risk. It's a risk. It definitely is a risk. Let's jump into the monologue, you guys, and then I'm going to bring up my guest from the back, and we're going to get into some. We're going to get into some non-custodial and custodial parent talk. Some malicious parent syndrome, right? That's a good one, right? That's a good one. We talk about, I talk a lot about provider stress syndrome, right? Well, today we're talking about malicious parent syndrome. The first thing to know about custodial malicious parent syndrome is that there is a general non-specific term. That means it's described as one kind of behavior or a set of behaviors found in custodial parents. It describes the actions of a malicious and vindictive people who use family court judgment and laws as weapons against their former partners, and in order to psychologically bully them into complying with their very unreasonable demands and conditions. In other words, custodial malicious parent syndrome is characterized by a parent who uses the legal system for bad faith purposes to gain an advantage over the parent by preventing them from having appropriate access to their children. It's unlike medical conditions like narcissistic personality disorder, where a person has a mental condition that affects their thinking and social functioning. CMPS does not involve diagnosable mental illness. CMPS is characterized by the following behaviors: using custody battles as a form of revenge against their former partners and sometimes their kids too, using legal tactics to harass, intimidate, and bully other parents into giving up what they want. Wow. Can you believe that? Can you freaking believe that? Malicious parent syndrome. You should be put in jail. You should be locked up. You should be diagnosed as mentally ill and be on some type of medication, some type of pills. Malicious parent syndrome is actually real, man. I hear about it and I see it all the time. One parent denying the other parent access. Why? Because they're angry. Because they're upset. They're upset. Somebody cheated. Somebody wasn't faithful. Somebody's not listening to you. Somebody's not doing what you want them to do, right? Somebody's decided to leave because you have bad behavior, right? Malicious parent syndrome. It's real. Let me bring up our guest, man. We're going to talk about our guest, man. My guest is a new YouTuber. He's a good friend of mine. Known him since high school. He's a writer. He's a director. He's a producer. He's a hardworking man. He's a father. And y'all know how much I got to big up fathers, man. He's a father. He's a single father of 4. And he knows a lot about this non-custodial parent and custodial parent. He knows a lot about the narcissistic parent. Narcissistic custodial parent. He knows a lot about the dealings of that because he's had some run-ins in his life. I'm gonna bring him up to the stage, man. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, his channel, his vision, what he's trying to do with it, and then we're gonna go into a little. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. You guys can tune into his channel, right, and view it. He got 76 views already. I'm very proud of the brother. Just put up a video, and already is. I mean, it's already skyrocketed, man. This video is blowing up. Now it's not blowing up like, but for a new YouTuber to put out a video on one day and have 76 views, that is a big feat. So let me bring from the back to the front, Jesse Calligraphy Jones. What's up, man?
How you guys doing? What's going on, man? How's it going?
Man, it's going good, man. It's going good, man. How you feeling out there, man? Tell us a little bit about your channel. Tell us a little about yourself. Tell us a little about your vision, and this non-custodial parent versus custodial parent thing. What is that? What is the malicious parent syndrome? What is that all about? Talk to us. Tell us about your channel. Introduce yourself.
So first and foremost, my name is Jesse Calligraphy Jones. Malicious parental syndrome. It's involving a parent that is, I would have to say, so vicious that they would want to take a child that both parents have made away from the other parent due to the fact that there's something that they just don't agree with. Not saying that parent is bad, is a bad parent or anything like that, which it should be the reason, but they take that child away from that parent just to specifically hurt that parent only, just to hurt that parent. And that sometimes they turn that child against that parent, and that happens as well. In my situation, I've dealt with that with I would have to say 2 of my kids, and now I'm dealing with it with another one of my children. So it's a very harsh thing, very hurtful thing. It takes a lot out of you. You know, it really shakes your spirit, because there's a lot of things that you would love to do. There's a lot of things that you would love to teach your child, and you're not able to, due to the fact that parent wants to take that child away from you and wants to hurt you and wants to see you suffer with that child, in which they're weaponizing that child, which is, oh my God, it's really unheard of. But the court system allows it, and everything rolls smoothly. Just stand out,
Man,
just step out of the
it's a
way.
money game.
Just
It's a
step out of
money
the way. It's a
grab.
money game. It is.
It's a money grab. It's a
And
money grab.
it's very hurtful. It's hurtful not only to that parent, but to that family as well, because that family feels that pain. That non-custodial parent's family feels that pain. And if that person is narcissistic, that means their family feels that pain too, because the narcissism, it just doesn't run with just parent to parent. It runs with family as well. That family feels that pain as well. So that narcissistic custodial parents family feels the pain as well, because they don't just do it to one person. They're doing it to all. That's pretty
They're
much what
doing
it
it
comes
all,
down to.
right?
They're doing it to all. So everyone's in pain. But more than anyone else, I would have to say is that child, which brings me to the point of free Ava, which I'm going to be pushing this campaign to free Ava, free my daughter, free my love, free my heart. That's my heart, and that's what's being taken away from me, to where I have to live every day without seeing my heart, and that's painful. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Man, that's crazy. Man, talk to us about your channel, man. What made you want to start the channel? The Jesse Calligraphy Jones channel. What are we going to see on the channel? We already got, I'm going to show some snippets of your first video here, but we already got some snippets of that. But what else can we look for to see on your channel? What's your channel about?
3 letters. You. I would say you. You pretty much encouraged me to start it. I've researched. I've done my research and everything, so I don't look like a total idiot. But yeah, I would have to say you. I would have to say other parents. I've watched other podcasts in regards to things on TikTok. Parents that are suffering, and they're just trying to figure out a way how to get their child back, how to deal with the pain, how to deal with the stress. And that's
So is
what
that what
really
your channel is going to
motivated
be about? Your channel going to be about getting back the child, child custody, non-custodial, how to deal with the custodial parent and the how to, tips and tricks.
all about it.
All about it. Okay.
All about it. All about
Okay.
it. Only about it. That's it.
Only
Only
about-
about that child. Only about the non-custodial parent getting that child, or receiving advice on how to get their child back. I'm not pushing the issue to where that non-custodial parent takes the child away from that custodial parent. If that custodial parent if there's nothing wrong with that custodial parent, rather, even if it's a narcissistic custodial parent. My thing is 50-50. Why can't we share? Why can't we share the love? Why can't we share the love? Why can't we have dual parenting? What's wrong with dual parenting? What's wrong with the baby knowing my family and the baby knowing your family? Wouldn't that bring that child to an advantage? Wouldn't that help that child intellectually?
Yeah.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it makes sense to
Got
me.
it.
So what is, man, these terms, right? There's baby daddy, baby mama, right? But what is a non-custodial parent? What is that?
So non-custodial parent is the parent that the child doesn't live with.
Okay.
That's pretty much what a non-custodial parent is. The parent that the child doesn't live with. Not saying that child is not taken care of by that parent. That parent takes care of can take care of health insurance. That parent can take care of can help financially, can help with
So the
so many things.
non-custodial parent is just the financier, the sponsor of the child. They're going to pay for they're going to pay child support, alimony, whatever. That's the non-custodial, right?
Exactly. And in some cases it's alimony. In my case, it's not alimony.
Okay.
In my case, it's the CS, which I like to use. It's the CS, and I'm paying the CS, and I'm still not able to see the child, which is harsh. When you
so you have to pay.
Yes.
So hold on. So I don't have any children, man. So I don't know these things. So I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna learn from you here. So you have to pay child support for a child you cannot even see when you want to.
Precisely. That's exactly, you said it. I couldn't say it no better way. That's exactly
You
what
have
it
to
is.
pay child support for a child you cannot see when you want. So you pay for everything, but the child doesn't see who pays.
Exactly. That's
The
exactly
child
what's
just
happening right now.
sees and believes and thinks that the mom is doing everything, but she's using
Exactly.
your finances to do it.
Precisely. That's all
Man,
there is.
how is that on your mental health, man? How is that on your mental strain, man? I mean,
Oh man,
golly.
you know
How is
what?
that on your day-to-day living? Like, how can you survive? I mean, I often wonder how cats when they get on CS, right? When they get on child support, how do they survive? Like, how do they move, man? Because you don't look broke. I mean, you look like you're still chilling, you're still doing what you gotta do. How are you coping with this?
To be honest with you, I am brokenhearted, man. I am
Mm,
brokenhearted.
mm,
In regards to finances, I don't care who you are. You can't stop my movement. You can't stop my motor. My momentum will constantly progress, no matter what, regardless who you
okay,
are. So that
okay.
doesn't stop. You know, that's from growing. That's from being raised. That's from being raised up, and that's from being raised in the military. There's no stopping me, no matter what. You know.
So
But
military
what it
man made you
does,
mentally tough.
of course, that and that and growing up, you know, with my family. You know.
So
So
let's do this
yeah.
real quick. Give me a quick synopsis of your military career, man. Give me a quick synopsis.
So my military career, I served with the 82nd Airborne from 2000 to 2004. Um, when I got out of the military, I got out for about 2 years. I missed camaraderie, I missed the uniform, so I went back in, and I went back in for 8. So I did reserves for about 8 years, and then I
So you
went
went
to
so you went for 2 years,
no, I went for 4 years. So
four
I
years,
went for 4 years. I was out for 2 years, then I went
out for
back in.
2 years, and then you went
Yes,
back in for eight
I
more
went
years
back in
as a reserve.
precisely,
Okay,
exactly,
I remember that.
exactly.
I remember. So who put you in the military, man? What made you decide to go to the military?
I would have to say more than anybody else, your dad. Your dad. Your dad pushed me to go to the military.
You let Big
I had
Game
uncles that were
James.
in the military.
You let
Yeah, I
Big
had it.
Game James.
Exactly,
He
exactly,
he's been in my year. Big Game James was in my year, and I was like,
exactly.
I'm his son. I already felt like I was in the military. So I was like, it's not happening. No, but I tried to pull you away from him. I tried to say, come on, man, let's go. Let's get out of here, man. He's gonna start talking. But you decided to sit down and listen and talk to my dad, man, and get that game from him. And
Of
he
course,
convinced you to go into the military. Was it
of
a good
course.
decision? Was it a bad decision? What do you think?
It was a great decision. For the simple fact that it really helped me to grow up. Not only was your dad, but my dad, my father was also military. So
Okay.
my father had fought in Vietnam and everything like that. But that really it really helped me to mature. It helped me to grow up. It helped me to see whenever you're down, keep pushing through. Um, in the military, a lot of the pain is shared amongst many men. So you're not enduring all the pain yourself. You know, if you can't see your
Mm,
family, this man can't see his family, he can't see his family. We're all in the field. You know, you're in the field for so many days, so many months, to where everybody's suffering together. So what you do, you start relating sarcastically. You know, you start joking and everything. You might see someone that's in so much pain, but he's really laughing galore due to the fact that everybody around him is low key comedians. Everybody around him has made a situation so bad into something so funny, you know, and that's what it
mm,
is. And you grow up, you start depending on these guys. They become your mom, they become your dad, they become your brothers, your sisters. They're all around you. You know what I mean? And these are people that if you don't if you're hungry, you're not hungry because this guy's hungry. And if you're really hungry, you guys got to be hungry together. You guys got to be starving together.
So let
Everybody
me ask you
eats together.
this.
Yeah.
How many of your military brothers would you say are dealing with this non-custodial parent versus custodial parent thing?
A lot, a
Mm.
lot. Just like any civilian. Same thing with any civilian. They're dealing with it a lot. So we gotta put it like this. We have to come back from we gotta come back from combat. We gotta go through so many things,
Now
man.
your
The ups and
combat,
downs.
you got combat training and you got combat experience, right?
I do, I do. So
Jesus.
we come back from combat and yet the same and yet we still have to deal with everything else that's happening. You
Wow.
know, everything else is happening. So it's really harsh, man. It's harsh. Yeah, you just you gotta push through it, regardless of what's going on, regardless of what's happening,
Okay.
and
Well,
that's the
what I
issue.
want to do right now is I just want to take a little break, and what I want to do is I want to play the first part to "I Cease to Pretty Please." I want to play that first intro, man, because I really like how you come in on that intro,
Okay.
and explain things, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna chop it up some more. I'm gonna ask some more questions about custodial parenting and non-custodial parenting. tips and tricks and things like that. And we're gonna do a little bit of review of your video here. I cease to pretty please. So before we get in that, what the heck is I cease to pretty please? What does that mean? Like, explain that.
So the meaning I cease to pretty please comes from I refuse to beg anymore. I don't want to beg anymore.
Powerful.
I don't want to have to beg anymore. I cease to pretty please. When you think about pretty please, you think about begging. Pretty please, please can I have this? Please can I see my child? Please can I see my blood? Please can I see my dynasty? Please can I see my legacy? Why should you have to beg for that? Why should you ever have to beg for that? And that's what I cease to do. I cease to beg anymore. What I want to do is I want to let the world know exactly what's happening in my situation and how wrong it is and how harsh it is. And with my situation, there are people that have came before me that have never that have been there had their children taken away from them. That's why you always see I haven't. That's why you always hear I haven't seen my child in 10 years, 15 years, 30. A lot of that is due to a narcissistic custodial parent taking that child away just because they want to injure you and they want to hurt you, and that's what it is. That's what it's about. I refuse to beg anymore. I want to go hard.
Brother, I'm with you on that, man. You know what, man? We should not be begging as men. We should not have to beg and plead to see our own children.
Exactly.
There's a big problem with modern women today, man. They feel like the child belongs to them because the child came from them. But that child does not belong to you. You're only the carrier of that child. We are without the seed, there is without the seed, there is no egg.
Exactly.
If the seed doesn't fertilize that egg, right, there's no baby.
Exactly.
The egg is what takes care of and nurtures and helps grow the kid. But that seed is the dunamis power. That is the source. That is the creation. So the child really belongs to the father. That child is the father's legacy. The father's legacy. That child is super important to the father.
So highly important. And
it amazes me how modern women seem to feel like that child doesn't belong with the father. When before all these family courts came into play, before all this, in the beginning of time, the child went to the father. This is just a new thing that's happening in the Western world, where the mother is receiving the baby, the child.
Of course. Yeah.
But that child really belongs to the father.
But really, don't get me wrong. What I'm getting at is there's a lot of fathers also that do the mother like that. They do the mother the same exact way, and they take away from the mother. You need that nurturing. You need that care. You need the mother. You need the mother in life. The mother is a necessity as well. I'm not taking that away from the mother. What I'm saying is that any parent should not have to suffer like I'm going through, like so many people are looking for that are going through. Whether you look north, south, east, and west, everybody is suffering. Everybody's suffering together, and no one else that has the ruling, no one else that can make it happen to where you can actually see your child cares. No one cares. They care about their own children, I'm sure, but no one cares.
Well, we got in the background, we got a guest in the background. We got Mama Rex in the background. We got a custodial parent in the background. So we got the non-custodial versus the custodial parent. Let me bring up Mama Sarah real quick, add her to the broadcast. She did a great, fantastic job on the last stream yesterday. We're going to bring her up again for some insight because she's a single mother. She's a custodial parent. Let's bring her up, y'all, and let's get some insight. Mama Rex, how you doing?
I'm here. My camera's off because I'm on mom duty right now.
Okay. No problem. So you've been hearing what we're talking about. These terms are new to me, but I like them. They sound so sophisticated. Non-custodial parent, custodial parent. How do you weigh in on this regarding the tug of war or the war between the mother and the father with the children? What's your experience and background behind that?
I am a custodial parent. I have primary custody. My children are with me 100% of the time. I am legally obligated to have them on insurance. I am 100% financially responsible for them. Their father does not pay child support. Um, and
I'm just curious, why not? Why you didn't put him on child support, or what?
No. He when we were divorcing, he was in the middle of filing for SSI disability for himself, and because he did not have an income, and because he already owed back child support for our older children, the judge granted it to where he did not have to pay child support.
So you never received one penny?
Not since they were about 2 years old.
Wow. What do you say to that, to Jesse? I mean, is that possible? I mean, like,
How are you doing? First of all, how are you doing, Mama Rex? How's everything going?
Hi, Jesse. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing beautifully well. Just trying to deal with this crazy situation. Now,
and it is a crazy situation.
Yes, it is. It's a very crazy situation that I'm going through. So, in which a lot of parents go through. I take my hat off to you. Definitely pat you on the back. It's not needed. This is something that's regular. It's something that's organic for you. To have to do. And I'm sorry that the father is not trying to be in this in your children's life. But that's the circumstances in a lot of cases, but not all. In some situations, the father is trying to be in the child's life, and the mother is not allowing it, or either vice versa. And that's the issue at hand.
Yes, I do agree with you. Just like I do actually know a few fathers that are custodial parents, and they have mothers that are the same way. They don't want nothing to do with their children. All they ever want all they ever want is to get money from the father. I need this, I need that. But you don't want to be a mother. You just want to play mom and, take pictures and post them on your social media and portray yourself as a good mother when you're really not.
And that happens so often. What it comes down to is that a lot, like I said, a lot of parents, they would like to be in their child's life, and a lot of them are denied that. And at the same time, on the other side of the coin, you have parents that just could care less. But the way it seems, it's not always so. It's not always so.
Now, Sarah, let me ask you a question, Mama Rex. What do you know about malicious parent syndrome?
I don't know a whole lot about it, but I have experienced it through other single moms that I help. Okay. I would like to actually, research it more, because I like to educate myself on things. But
tell her what malicious parent syndrome is, Jesse. Explain what malicious parent, because you're going through that now, right? You're going through malicious parent syndrome. What is malicious parent syndrome? What is that?
It's where one parent is maliciously holding that child hostage, so to speak, holding that child hostage away from the other parent.
Oh yeah.
Mainly to hurt that other parent. Mainly to hurt that other parent, which is ultimately hurting that child. So I might as well say mainly to hurt that child.
So malicious parent syndrome is using the legal system to bully and beat down non-custodial parent into submission and doing whatever that custodial parent wants. That's what malicious parent syndrome is. When this parent is using the legal system.
That's one route. That's one thing. It's the legal system, and it cannot be the legal system. So
it could just be just pure hatred, pure evil.
Pure hatred.
Just pure evil.
Better said.
Just pure evil. The pure evil, the doctor evil.
Exactly.
Pure evil.
Okay. That does make a lot more sense. Like I said, I wasn't 100% sure, but I am now. I definitely have not experienced it myself, but I have dealt
You mean to
with
tell me,
other.
Sarah, you ain't never just been like, F that nigga, he ain't gonna see his kids today. I'm mad. He made
Okay,
me so mad. He made
no,
me so mad. He come to pick up the kids and you're like, they're not even ready yet. You gotta wait.
Nope, I've never done that.
You ain't made that nigga run around the car and you got the baby on your shoulder and you're running and he's chasing you after the baby. You're like, you're not gonna get him. You're not gonna get him.
Football.
You never played tug of war with the baby. Like you grab on one foot and he grab on the hand and y'all just None of that?
Nope. But I can say this. I will say this right now because of his mental disabilities. I am not allowing him to be left alone with my children.
Syndrome. That's part of it, right? That's part of it,
No.
right? Jesse?
That is. No.
You got to have supervised vision. You got to have supervised visitation.
He can see them whenever he wants to, as long as it is supervised.
I'm just
and it is not. It is not for the. It's for the safety of my disabled child. It is for the my disabled child cannot speak for himself. He cannot protect himself. So it is my job as his mother to do so. I will never deny their dad to see them. Never. But it has to be supervised for the protection of my disabled child.
Because he's mentally disabled. He's mentally ill.
Mentally
ill.
Yeah. I get it. I can dig it. I get it. Let's jump into this video real quick, you guys. Let's jump into this video real quick. And let's see my boy, first podcast, the intro of I Cease to Pretty Please. Okay.
This is to the parents that will hold their children hostage due to a failed relationship. This is to the child who now dislikes, despises, or hates the non-custodial parent so much to where they label themselves as being motherless or fatherless because of what they've been told and taught by the custodial parent and at times the custodial parent's family. This is to the evil narcissist who never believed in the word dual. Dual meaning dual parenting, dual family, dual love, dual affection, dual intellect, and so forth. And would give that child a real advantage in life as opposed to children with only one parent. I cease to pretty please, meaning I beg no more, and I hope you'll never have to beg for the children you love as well. On today's modcast, yes, I said modcast, meaning I'll be moderating between the non-custodial parents and the narcissistic type custodial parents, not to be confused with the ones that are actually fair. So of course, I'll be biased, but we will be discussing, debating, and approaching a conclusion from a path of pure love and common damn sense. I want to start by first saying, free my love for Ava, my youngest daughter, and I would love for anyone that calls in to this modcast in the future to please place your child before yourself and announce free my love for whatever the child's name may be, so we'll all know whose love you're in search of regaining closure for. And I thank you in advance. This show is for the newlyweds. This show is for the brand new parents. This show is for the parents that are now pregnant and the futuristic parents. All the parents that are going through what I'm going through and that are hurt and feeling a lot of pain, actually feeling triggered from this show. I apologize, but this show it's going to be well needed. This is going to be a very emotional show, as you can see. That's why I have the glasses on. It is late at night, and I have glasses on. I know it looks crazy, but I need this. This is going to be highly needed.
Now I know why I wear glasses too. Because it's emotional. I just get emotional.
I don't always want to show my tears because I know they're going to come, and they always come because there's children involved. My name is Jesse, aka Calligraphy Jones. I am a father of 4 incredible children. I have two adults and 1 teenager and 1 little baby. With this show going, this show will allow me to let out a lot of what I'm feeling, a lot of what I've been feeling, a lot of what you're feeling. Whether you can actually start a show or not, I would welcome you. It wouldn't be competition. The more people that know about what's happening and the evil in some people who would love to take your child away just to hurt you, when ultimately they're hurting that child, in which I will be saying over and over again. Just a reminder, just a real reminder. Those are people that are I don't even know how to explain it. Most people say that someone narcissistic is sick. I know that anyone narcissistic, if you're a CEO, if you're a boss or something, I guess at times.
Let's stop it there, man. And then we'll get into some more of it, man. But break down, man. That was a good monologue, man.
That guy's telling the truth. That guy's telling the truth.
Yeah,
whoever that guy is, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, whoever that guy is, he's definitely telling the truth, man. I mean, that was a good monologue, man. That was a touching monologue. I mean, you went into it. You explained the non-custodial and custodial parent. You talked about the malicious intent behind it, and just what and you sound like you memorized that monologue pretty good, man. Like, I mean, it sounded like it came from within, not coming from without. Explain I cease to pretty please and why you decided to open up with that monologue.
The reason I open up with that monologue, and the reason why I will always open up with that monologue, is so mainly to get across dual parenting, and how important dual parenting is, how important it is in regards to intellectually, how important it is in regards to everything about a child's growth. It's one thing to be raised by one parent. You get all that knowledge from one parent. But when you're raised by two parents, you get dual knowledge. So it's putting you to a certain advantage. You always hear, I was raised by my mom, I was raised by my dad or whatever. But I don't care who you are. You wanted both. You wanted both in your life. Regardless of what you had, you wanted both. You wanted
true,
both
man.
of them
I was raised by a single father, but
exactly.
I still wanted a mother.
Exactly.
I still yearn for the unconditional love and nurturing that a woman brings. So
of course, the logic and the emotion, the emotion, everything.
You need both
Everything's
sides.
supposed to be together.
You need healthy
exactly.
logic and you need healthy emotion. You don't need to be just one. You don't need to be too masculine to where you don't care for anything. You don't have any emotions. You got to have some emotions, some feelings, some concern. So I get that.
And that's what
the comments real quick. Walter says, even though moms are not always the custodial parent, doesn't mean that the courts and society doesn't usually default whatever to the mother. Courts and society usually has a mindset that a kid can't be without their mother. That's very true, man.
True.
Do you see that? I mean, you just went to court recently. I mean, is it favorable to the man at all? Just a little bit?
Actually, well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Were you speaking, Mama Rex?
No, I was just listening. That's little man in the background. Sorry.
Oh, okay, I see. No problem. I would have to say a mother. The courts do see that. The courts do see the mother. The mother raising it. They see the child being with the mother or around the mother. But what it comes down to is they need both. You need both, man. You need both. You need that father to raise that child. Why do you think so many mothers are saying, I don't know what to do with him? He's running out of control. He's that father. And then when you see other souls, what do you see? That father, it's like, is daddy coming? Is daddy, does daddy know? Why do you think that is? That dad has meaning. That dad has definition behind him, behind his movement. That dad means a lot. That child looks at that dad, that boy sees that dad as, okay, this is how I should walk. This is how I should talk. This is how I should move. That daughter sees that dad as, this is who I should, this is how I want my man to be. This is who I'm going to love. If he's like my father, I will follow. If he's not, I won't. If that father is a positive aspect within her life, she's going to want somebody to mimic that father's movement, you know? And that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. You know, that's the daughter's first love. I've seen that on a show, on a podcast. That's a daughter's first love. That's a daughter's first love. It's her dad, her father. That's what she sees. That's how she sees a man being. That's how a little boy sees himself being. Sees himself being. If that father is a positive aspect within their life, they see themselves being that way. That father is really gonna rub off because that father is there. That father is there. Not every father is perfect. I'm not saying they're perfect. Not every mother is perfect. But it's that dual system, you know, that dual formula to where they're both raising that child. One person, if one doesn't have the answer, the other has the answer. It's always like that. It's meant to be like that. It's meant to be like that, you know?
Okay.
And if it's not like that, it goes harshly wrong in regards to someone snatching that child away, saying you can't see that child. What about that child? Does anyone ever look at that child when you're face to face and you guys are arguing and there's a lot of turmoil, you know, a lot of friction? Does anyone look down and see that child, how that child's reacting? No one does, man. And that's the issue. Same thing when the father's gone or the mother's gone, and that father's holding that child away from that mother. Does anyone ever look down and say, damn, am I hurting you? I wonder, am I hurting you? Instead of saying, oh, that your mom or your dad, they're evil. Oh my God, I don't want you around them. They're so, come on, man. It's simple, man. It's simple. Don't you want that child to have a loving advantage? A loving advantage, an intellectual advantage.
So let me
That's
ask
all
you
I'm
this
saying.
question, and that's very, man. Don't you want your child? That's deep, y'all. Don't you want your child to have an advantage? Custodial parent. Don't you want your child to have an advantage intellectually? Don't you want to have access to both sides of the family tree instead of just one? Don't you want to have both answers instead of just a one-sided answer? That's very clear to me. Let me ask you this, man. Your upbringing. Tell us a little about your upbringing. I mean, what made you become? I mean, because you're going out there and I mean, I know you personally, but they don't know you. But you're a good father. Where did you get that training from? How did you become a good father?
That training is.
Were you
that
always
training,
a good father?
Yes, I would have to say I was always a good father. You know how you sometimes a lot of fathers and a lot of mothers at the same time, we doubt ourselves. We seem to have self-doubt. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing? But you always hear everyone on the outside saying, "Oh my God, you're incredible." Every time I see you, you have your kids, you're taking your kids here, you're doing this with your kids. But inside, you're thinking like, "No, I should be better. I should be doing this." But then you look back. Like when I look back, I think, yeah, the zoo, the park, the mountains, I told my child this, told my child that. Yeah, I'm a good parent. I'm a great parent. I'm an awesome parent. I'm an amazing parent. I'm the best. That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel now. Sometimes that self-doubt hits you still, but you say, you know what? That child's stomach is full. I look overhead, I see the roof. Look around, I see lights. I see, I see we have means of transportation, we have this. Yes,
So let me ask
I'm an
you. Let me
amazing
ask you
parent.
this question: Are you
Yes.
the bare minimum father, or do you do above and beyond? And do you
I
feel
always try,
like
I
the bare
always go above
minimum
and
father
beyond.
should be rewarded just like the father that goes above and beyond?
I always go above and beyond. There's times where I feel like I am doing the bare minimum, and I need to pick it up. And that's when you have that self-talk, and you build yourself up. You motivate yourself. You motivate yourself. You inspire yourself. But ultimately, You look down, you see that child will motivate you. That child will say, you know what, get out there and get a job. Get out there and get that education. Don't you want to be more? Don't
So
you?
do you
That
ever
child will
feel
do that
like? So
ultimately.
do you ever feel like if would you ever tell your child, at least I didn't put you in a jar? At least I gave birth to you. At least you're here. Would you ever tell your child that, like, you should be happy that you didn't that you survived being raised by me?
No, no, I would never tell my child that.
So you
I
wouldn't
should
say.
be happy. I should be happy that I have you in my life. I should
Mm.
be happy that I have you. That's most important. I would
So we
never tell
just
my
did a
child that.
show yesterday, and we
Yes.
just heard a woman
Hmm.
kind of going through the motions and explaining that just kind of defending her case, like, you need to show me respect, you need to give me my flowers, you need to just be happy. I don't have to do any. Do you have that mentality that you don't have to do anything for your kids? They you're the reason they're here, so you don't need to do anything else for them. You got them here.
You have to do absolutely everything. Like I said, that's your legacy. That's everything that you are. If you're starving, that child should be eating. That child should always be a step higher than you. So whatever you're doing, that child should be a step higher than you. So it's very, very vital that you do absolutely everything within your power. If you can do it, a lot of times, especially everything that we're going through right now, the world is going, it's crazy. So I say do your best. Do your very best. There's gonna be times, a lot of times, where you can't do your absolute best. You can't, but you still do your very best. If your child is not living with you, if your child is away, if there's no way, if you're in prison right now, if you're in the military, wherever you are and you can't see that child, do your very best. Do your very best. The more you do for you, the better it is going to be for when you see that child. Keep yourself healthy. Keep yourself running. Keep yourself at it. Keep moving. Keep that momentum strong. Keep that momentum strong, because sooner or later you will see that child, and that's how I feel. I'm going through the court system right now. I got to go through, the court and everything like that, the whole custodial process, in order to see her. But I'm not going to give up. No matter what, I'm not going to give up, because I know I'm going to see her. I know I'm going to see her. You know, and that's my motivation. That's what inspires me. My love, my heart. I know for a fact. You know, and you just don't allow anyone to take that away from you. I don't care how high up they are.
Mama Sarah, let me ask you this question. Let me bring Mama Sarah back into this conversation. Let me ask you this question. How do you feel hearing another man talk like this about their children? Are you mother a lot of men? I'm sure some of these boys grow up and they have children of their own. How are you feeling seeing a non-custodial parent talk this way about their child, and you being the custodial parent? Unmute yourself. I think you're muted. Unmute yourself. Okay, hold on. Let me bring her up over here. Okay, you're up over there. I'm gonna bring you down over here. Okay. There we go. Okay, so talk to us now. Now we can see you. Were you listening to Jesse talk? How are you feeling as the custodial parent, listening to the non-custodial parent speak with this much passion about his children, about he feels like he needs to do more, like he has to go above and beyond. He's not feeling like the person we talked about yesterday, right? The young woman who was like, you need to be just satisfied. I didn't put you in. What about parent trauma? What about teenage parent trauma? What about this? He's not talking about his trauma. He's talking about, man, it's the kids. It's the kids. I'm not worried about my own. I'm worried about my child. When I look at my child, they actually inspire him. They actually motivate him. How are you feeling? This is a little bit different. I'm not trying to do no matchmaking, but imagine if this was the father of your child talking like this. We got some love making right now. We got some. She said she wouldn't be a single mother, Jesse, if you was a daddy. All right.
That's the difference. You could clearly say that he as well as he's fighting to see his child and to be responsible and a part of his child's life. Not every situation is like that.
Say that again. Can you hear me? Mama Sarah, can you hear me?
I lost you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Looks like we lost Jesse too. Hold on, let me do some house cleaning. Look like, I don't know what's going on. We're losing people.
Stop.
Okay. So I was asking you to repeat what you said because we kind of didn't get you, but looks like you're dealing with your son real quick. So what we're gonna do is let's go to another video. Let's play some more of Calligraphy Jones's video here, and let's get into some more of what he's talking about with the custodial parent and the non-custodial parent. But before we do that, let me read these two comments by Walter. Walter says, 2 things that keep this issue going. 2 things that keep this issue going. Number 1, image. The image of mothers in society that overall they are their kids and nature. Society and women groups, paintsmen? Oh, society and groups paints men to be absent and predators. 2, pandering people and simps in power or influence entities will stereotypically go harshly unfair on fathers. That's true. That's true. Walter also says, systematically, our government and entities need fathers gone so they can take over as parents. This is why many groups ignore or make light of father's plight. We need a big fathers movement with celebrities and such. Oh yeah, I agree. 100%. We have to fight for fathers, man. We have to advocate for fathers, right? Fathers are underappreciated. Fathers are overlooked. Okay. Fathers are just they are the true unsung heroes. They built this world, and you act like they didn't build it. You know what I'm saying? They build the infrastructure that we use every day, and you act like they didn't do it. You just take everything for granted. These are men. These are fathers. They raise their children. They provide, right? They bring stability in the home. They bring security. They bring safety. They bring discipline. They bring structure. And all they get is socks on Father's Day. All they get is socks on Father's Day. So let me play another video here real quick. Let's play some more of the video. And let's hear the passion behind this brother as he speaks about non-custodial, custodial parents, malicious parent syndrome.
I guess it's needed, for you to boss up and for you to be, for you to be over everyone else or whatever the case may be. But in regards to being over another human being, that's insane. And it seems like a lot of these narcissistic custodial parents end up with the child. And it just blows my mind how that happens. It blows my mind how that happens, but it happens. So here we are. The subject that I would like to start off with would be the malicious parent syndrome. Let's see, the malicious parent syndrome is when one parent seeks to punish the other parent by talking poorly about them or doing things to place the parent in a bad light, particularly in the eyes of their children. So with that being said, if you can imagine, you have a parent talking to an adolescent, talking to a child, and that parent is telling that child, your dad or your mother doesn't love you. That's why they're not here now. That's why I'm taking care of you. I'm the only one here. You should only love me. your father or your mother is they're bad, they're evil, they're this, they're that. That makes that child really feel as if that non-custodial parent is the enemy, is a villain, is an antagonist, is the worst person on this earth, is scum. But why? Why would you want that to happen? If you have somebody that loves that child as much as you love that child, would die for that child, would live for that child, would give that child any part of his any organ, any bone, any heart, anything. Why would you want to take that child away from that person that loves that child as much as you do? What rights do you have? The rights of the rights of the law? Because, and I get it. Everyone says, oh yeah, in every state, fathers have right. No, we don't. We don't. If you're a non-custodial parent, mother or father, you don't have the same rights as a custodial parent. You could try it, but I bet you better have a lawyer. And that lawyer may not even be able to succeed, whether weak or strong.
Wow.
Believe me, I'm seeing it, and I've seen it. A lot of good people, a lot of good parents, a lot of great parents have lost their children due to the court taking that child away from that good parent because that custodial parent said this or said that or had more income or had. Why is that even possible? How is that even possible? How is that possible? That's what's mind-blowing, which brings us to this podcast. I just can't seem to fathom why that's allowed. Let's
stop it there. Because I can't seem to fathom why that's allowed either, man. Let me bring back up Calligraphy Jones here. Man, you were speaking very passionately about that, man. Of course. You were talking about, you would give your arms, your legs, your limbs for this very child. How could this mother, this narcissistic mother, this custodial parent treat the non-custodial parent so aberrantly?
Because I no longer want to be in a toxic relationship. A lot of times that's the situation. You can't, no one's going to come in court and say that, but that's exactly what it is. When you don't want to be with that parent anymore, that's when they snatch that child away to hurt you. Nothing else can hurt you. You snatch that child away. Let me see. I'll snatch that child away. The way the formula works, is I snatch that child away. Then I come after your income. Then anything else. So then you lose everything and you have nothing else but me. That's what it is. You have nothing else to look forward to but coming back to me. And it's not going to happen. Some men, yeah. Some women, yeah. With me, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. I'm going to keep fighting. Free Ava, free Ava, free Ava. And I'll say that until she's right here with me. Until she's in my arms again.
So let me play devil's advocate just a little bit, man. So you're a father of 4.
I'm a father of 4.
How many baby mothers do you have?
I have 3.
You have 3 baby mothers.
I do.
You're fighting in court case for 1 right now, right?
I am.
Free Ava. And she's a beautiful young lady. Let me ask you this question. Did you know the relationship was toxic before you guys have kids, or was it after?
I would say before. I would have to say before. And when, a lot of times, as everyone knows, it's not, parenthood is not planned. A lot of times it's not planned. I believe biblically, religiously, it's supposed to be planned, but a lot of times it's not planned. Actually, most of the times it's not planned. So when it's not planned, you move forward. I am a real father. I am a real parent. So I'm not going to just let my daughter drift away. It's not going to happen. And to the parents that have to, that find peace in letting their children go with that parent that has taken them through hell and back, I can understand. It's just not for me, but I still respect it. A lot of people look at other parents and they say, "Oh, that person's a deadbeat. That person's the." How do you know what that other parent that has the children has taken that parent through?
Right.
You know, you never know what that parent has went through. You know, and that's what it comes down to. So, in regards to me, no, I'm strong enough to fight. I'll keep fighting. I'll keep fighting. If ever I had to let go of, it has to be the worst situation. That's what goes on with a lot of parents. So I don't knock any parent. Let a parent come to me and say, you know what, I gave up all rights to my child, and I get it. I get it. I know what your next words are going to be. I could tell by your face. I could tell by the destruction in your face. I could tell by your eyes. You went
So let me
much.
ask you this question. So let me ask you this
Yes.
question then. You know, you knew that she was toxic before. Why did you keep dealing with her?
I would have to say we were in that. That's a great question. I would have to say that we were up and down. You know how you get in a relationship and you stay together, you break up, you stay together, you break up. You know, there was love involved. With there being love involved, you say, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna give a person a chance. They say, you know what? I'm better now. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But ultimately, it seemed like it really seemed as if that person was bipolar, because that person would just go up and down, you know, up and down. But when that person was sincere, that person was sincere. That person was saying, hey, you know what? I've changed. I want to do better. And you say, you know what? Okay, I'll give you another chance.
So let
When
me
that
ask.
chance happens, go ahead.
So let me ask you this then. It was a toxic relationship. You needed to get out of it. This is a tough question, man.
Of course.
It's a tough question because this is a very tough question. You don't have to answer this.
Go ahead.
Did you ever, Roe versus, the big talk is about Roe versus Wade. Did you ever think about abortion?
With the child?
Yeah.
No, actually, to be honest with you, I was over the road, and she had told me about it before I was over the road. So I went over the road, and I was just thinking hard about it, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with this? What am I gonna do with that? And sure enough, man, I said, you know what? Regardless, we're gonna have it. You know, I honestly, not being politically, I can understand people that are against abortion, and I can understand people that are for abortion. There's different reasons behind both. You know, me personally, I'm not putting myself in that. That's an argument that, you know, people have. I mean, galore. It's gonna constantly happen. You know, but yeah, I understand the question, and you're right. That's a real tough question, a real hard question, but it's simple, man. I get it from both sides. I can understand from both sides.
Okay. Let me go to the comments real quick, and I'm gonna read a question that wants: society and courts don't shame women's narcissistic behavior. Society has made it part of women's empowerment. That is correct. Walter also says, please speak to the young men about not settling for women with modern mindset. Young men aren't taught that and will often learn the hard way as adults, after a baby mother or two, and when they are supposed to learn at youth. Yeah. Let's talk to that, man. Let's address the youth here. As far as would you your kids are a blessing. You know, they're beautiful. You got 2 grown kids already. But let me ask you this question. This is another tough question, okay? But it's a real one. Do you regret having 3 baby mothers?
No, I would honestly have to say no, because without them, I would they helped.
You wouldn't have your children.
They helped shape my child. They helped shape my children. So without them, I would have no children. So I can't say that.
Okay.
I would say that everything in life is a lesson. You know, I don't use the term baby mom. I don't use the term baby mother or anything like that. I would say my child's mom. You know, because even if we don't have a great great relationship, I still have respect for them.
So what would you say about how would you mentor a young man who's settling for a modern woman who could be in a toxic relationship? How would you guide that youth into dealing with that? What would you say?
Great question. I would have to say, just like the movie, I would say get out. I would say get out. And I'll tell you like this. It's so easy for somebody outside of that relationship to say, get out. We see what's going on. But a lot of times, someone has to touch that fire. They have to feel that fire in order.
So what made you stay? What made you stay in a toxic relationship or go back to it after you knew it was toxic? What made you stay? What made you go back into it?
What I did was I called myself. We took a break, and there was times where we broke up. Going back, I would have to say it would be love. I would have to say it would be.
You were in love?
Yeah, I was in love.
Okay,
definitely. I would have to say it was love. I would have to say it was when you love someone, right? That person is no longer a want. That person becomes a necessity to you, right? A necessity to your momentum, to you moving forward. And that's how it was. And at times things get shaky, and when things get shaky, sometimes you let it go, and then sometimes you pick it back up. You let it go and you pick it back up.
Is there anything you regret? If you can go back and change some things, are there some things that you look back and you say, man, I regret this, I regret that? Are there things that you regret in dealing with malicious parent syndrome and dealing with the baby mothers? Is there anything you regret if you go back in your life? Is there anything you regret?
Yeah, but there has to be, I definitely regret a lot, but there has to be equal balance. If I regret meeting them, would I have my child? I wouldn't have my children, right? So for me to be harsh and say that I regret ever seeing you. I hate that I see my child. My child is moving. My child is walking. My child is breathing.
Being with those women were worth the offspring that you've had. So you look at it more like, I have my babies. That's more important than the mistakes that I could have possibly made in dealing with these women.
Precisely.
Correct?
Exactly. It's harsh. It sounds bad. Someone outside of that would shake their head and be like, why would you? It happened. And from that, I got someone beautiful. So.
Walter says, remember when I mentioned counseling dates and premarital counseling dates, that would have helped expose people prone to malicious parent syndrome in the future. Yeah, man, we got to do coffee and counseling. The new date right now is coffee and counseling. Your first date is coffee and sitting down with a mentor or someone well-respected that can be a mediator while you guys go on your date and talk about certain topics. Coffee and counseling. That's the new dating in 2022. You want to go on a date with me? Let's do coffee and counseling. I have this the spiritual counselor, the spiritual leader. I have this mother figure or this father figure. I want us to sit down and I want us to have a conversation over coffee about what we want our life to be, what our expectations are out of each other. Would you think that would have helped you if you would have went on some of these coffee and counseling dates with these women? That could have helped you in making better decisions? I
would say so. I would say any kind of help outside of you, yes, because there would be nobody biased. There would be no room for bias. Now
here's another tough question. Would you listen? It's one thing to get the advice. Would you use it?
But of course, man, you know me. I'm 100%. I'm 100% listener. I'm 100% talker. Yeah, of course I'll listen. There's always both. Yeah, definitely.
But will you apply the knowledge? That's the question.
Would I apply the knowledge?
Will you apply the knowledge that you learn, that you pick? Like somebody said, let's say you're having a coffee and counseling date, right?
Yeah.
And this woman is fine. She's a 10, right? Mm-hmm. But the coffee and counseling date says, man, you know what, man? Based on what you guys are talking about, you guys are not compatible. I don't think you guys should be together.
I would have to let her go because that intellect is far more important than how she looks. That intellect always lasts.
But you would still smash though, right?
Would I still smash her?
Yeah, you would still smash though, right?
If we both agree that she's not worth my time and I'm not worth her time, no, why would I? Where would we be going? Where would we go?
Okay.
Yeah, where would we go? It's probably gonna end up the same way we're talking about right now. And then the worst part is I knew it from the very start. I knew it from the very start because you know what? We'll tell each other. You know what? Let's skip the guy that had the intellect or whoever gave us that spiritual. The whoever gave us that advice, let's skip that. And then weeks down the line, months down the line, it's like, damn, we're not working out. We knew from the very start.
So the narcissistic, vindictive, and abusive parent often uses children as a weapon to gain power, control, and financial security. We know that, right?
Of course.
What can someone do to combat that? What are some of the things that what's helping you overcome this battle? Because you're still in this battle, you're going to court and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What tips can you give the men who are in this situation? Not the men who aren't, the men who are already in the situation and maybe going through what you're going through. What are some of the things that you can do to handle some? How do you deal with the control aspect? How do you deal with it? I mean, are you ceasing to pretty please, or are you still like, hey, whatever you need, I can do it? Are you begging still?
I'm no longer begging. And that's what I'm pushing. My whole free Ava Marie Jones. That's my whole campaign. So I'm no longer begging. What I'm doing is I'm giving advice from my downfalls and my upbringings. So what I would say is, take a step, take another step, take another step, take another step, and run.
So what do you do when you can't see your child?
What I do is, well, as you know, I try to work out. I try to do everything that I'm supposed to be doing. I try to eat well. I try to keep going. I try to continue moving, man. Continue moving forward. Because if you stop, it's gonna really break you down. It's gonna really break you down, and it's really
you
gonna.
just got to keep moving forward, no matter what that custodial parent does. You just got to keep positive and keep moving forward,
no matter what.
Okay, Walter says, what percentage of women have that syndrome in America versus overseas? I would say the laws are different. Every country is different, Walter. I'm not an expert in this, but every country has their own laws dealing with family court and things like that. And we all know that the worst family court laws are in the Western world. So the percentage of women that have this malicious parent syndrome is probably much more greater here than it is in a country like, let's say, Africa. Now, my wife, she was a single mother. She has two twins. She has a daughter and a boy. They're, what do they call, maternal twins? They're not maternal. Okay. So what they did, there was no custody issue or no custody case. The father took the son and the mother took the daughter. So that's one instant. There was no malicious parent syndrome there. The father took the son. He could have took both, but the father took the son and the mother took the daughter. That's one issue. I would definitely say the malicious parent syndrome is worse here. And I'm not saying it's not in, I almost want to say it depends on the woman. Depends on the woman you're dealing with. I would say a more traditional woman, no. But a modern woman, yes. You got to pay attention, because that toxic femininity, that toxic woman, it's more prone here. So, we already know that the modern women in America are very selfish, very self-centered, very independent, very about themselves, very misandry, very much into misandry. So we know that it's, I don't know the percentage, I'm just going to guess, throw some figure. I would say 80% of the time, you're going to run into a woman that's going to suffer from malicious parent syndrome, because I don't know too many cases where I haven't heard of, the other parent being spiteful to the other parent. I've only seen few cases or heard a few, and I'm talking strictly anecdotal now. I've only heard a few instances where the child, the mother and the father were civil. And one person wasn't being malicious. There's always or usually one parent, and that's usually the custodial parent, who's going to be malicious to the other parent. But I will say this. I would say in majority cases where it's where there is no malicious parent syndrome, is usually because the father has custody. I will say that the father usually does not deny the mother rights to see the child. You usually see the mother denying the father to see the child. There may be some instances. I haven't seen any. I haven't heard of any. I'm sure there's some out there. Somebody can get that data to me.
In all honesty, it's mainly due because the court is, just like you said earlier, they're pro mother. They're pro mother. The mother is going to get the child first because they say that the child needs to be nurtured by the mother. But what happens to fathers that are raising their child from 3 months? What happens to mothers that end up dying on the table, and the father has to take over the child? How is that child raised? That child's still raised, right? He's still raised. She's still raised. She's still raised up by that father. Something that's so impossible, right? It could never happen. Still happens, you know. It still happens.
So, speak to this. Speak to the alienation and the estrangement from the extended family members. How did your family deal with not being able to be around your daughter? How did your family members deal with that alienation and not being able to, be around like they want to? Your family, your immediate family.
My family's only seen my child, I would say, only a couple times. Only a couple times at most. My family has only seen my child only a couple times. My family, just like me, they love her. Even the family that has never seen her, they love her because she comes from my blood, because she's a part of me. So they love her because they're a part of me. So they love her. But the worst part is that a lot of them don't even know her. They don't even know her smile. They don't know her tight eyes. They don't know.
Now, with your other kids, have you ever experienced any children turned against you? Children turning against a non-custodial parent?
Have I ever experienced it with myself?
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay. My children have never turned against me. Okay. No. My children have never turned against me. I would have to say that, my first two kids, I went through hell. I did. I went through a lot of hell, and a lot of times I allowed it. I'll be honest with you and tell you I allowed it. And that's why I tell you this time I cease to pretty please. This is
I want you, with your permission, you don't have to talk about this, but I just want you to I want you to talk about the time that you were being shipped off to war.
Okay.
I want you to share that time. I know it's in your video, but I don't want to show your whole video. I want them to go. First of all, well, after you explain this, we got to make sure they know. I'm gonna put the link of while you're talking. I'm gonna put the link of this of your video in the chat of this video, so they can click on this link and actually watch the whole video if they want to. Let me put it here. Put it in.
I really like that.
Now.
So, what it came down to was, I was on my way. Me and my oldest kid's mother, we had separated, and I was on my way to Iraq. I was serving with the 82nd Airborne. I was on my way to Iraq, and their mother had been known what was going on. My mom told their mother, "Hey, I'm going to North Carolina. I'm going to go see him before he's shipped off, before he has to go." Their mother told my mom that actually is my son at the time. My son can't go because he has a birthday party to go to. My mom then said, "A birthday party?" She said, "Is it an important birthday? Like what's the birthday?" She said it was an important birthday party. What my thing is, what kind of birthday party is more important than seeing your father before anything happens to him? What's more important than that? I can't see anything. I've been to so many birthday parties, man. You go to so many birthday parties, and I look around, and it's always fun and exciting, right? What kind of birthday party is that important to where you would not allow their parent to see them? Because anything could have happened to me out there. I didn't go out there. I didn't go out there for fun. I mean, I've never heard of combat being like a fantasy island or anything that, everyone's just smiling and laughing. No, there's depth.
So she denied you to see your son.
Yes, I was denied to see my son.
And you're about to be shipped off.
Yes.
And going to the war zone.
Yes. It could have happened anytime.
Afghanistan.
It was a week after that. After my mom and my cousins, after they got there. So I left a week later. But I could have left at any time. With who I was serving with the 82nd Airborne, you leave.
Would you say this was petty? Would you say that was petty?
Man, if there was,
would you say that was malicious parent syndrome right there?
Exactly.
Would you say she was? Petty is she was trying to keep you from.
Pettiness is beneath that. That's beneath that. Pettiness is beneath that. Pettiness. That's belittling what happened.
So, what would you tell the young men who are going through the same thing you're going through? They're in military right now. Obviously, they're not being shipped off to war, but they're being denied access to their child, and they're in the military. What would you say? Because you know what, man. Let me tell you something. That happened to my dad.
Yeah.
My dad. Let me tell you my story. Let me tell you how my dad got me.
Let's hear it.
My dad was in Germany, overseas. He was in the military. My mother was very promiscuous, cheating on my dad, hanging out with different men, going out leaving me at my uncles, at my aunties, at strangers' houses, leaving me and my older sister. My Aunt Mabel called my dad, got a hold of my dad in the military, said, and God bless this woman. She said, Maxie, you better come get your kids, or you won't have any kids. Your kids will end up dead. You better come get these kids. This woman should not be raising your kids. If you want your kids alive, come get them. She told my dad what was going on, everything that's going on. Obviously she was doing things she wasn't supposed to be doing. This is my mom. This is my Aunt Mabel. My Aunt Mabel, man, I love this woman, man. This woman is very stoic. Okay, this woman is very straight to the point. She doesn't pull no punches. She's gonna tell you what it is, whether you like to hear it or not. And my dad is the same exact way. So you can tell that they hit it off. She may not have liked my dad, but she had a respect for my dad. She respected my dad enough to say, you better come get your kids. My dad's in the military, hopped on a dead eye, right? Hopped on a cargo plane, flew back to the States. First of all, he told the military, he said, I gotta go get my kids. If I don't get my kids, I might not have any kids. So I gotta fly back. So he got permission. He was out in Germany. He got permission to leave base, jump on a cargo plane, get back to the States, surprise my mother. She didn't even expect him. Says, hey man, I'm here. I'm not here for very long. I just want to take my kids out to get some ice cream. She allows my dad to take us out to get some ice cream. Man, I never seen my mother again. Next thing you know, I was on a cargo plane. Me and my sister were on a cargo plane flying to Germany.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
And you know what? It ain't like my mother didn't know where we was at, know what was going on. But she didn't even try to get us back.
Yeah.
She was more relieved because she had her freedom back again, that she didn't have to worry about babysitting children. That she said, you know what? He want them, he can have them. Let him deal with them. Let him deal with these bad kids. No nurturing bone in her body.
Sad,
fake
man.
Nurturing, fake empathy, fake sympathy, phoniness, right? She could be in the crowd and you'll think she's the nicest woman in the world, but that's all the game. You won't even know this woman. This woman smokes cigarettes. You won't even know she smokes cigarettes. That's how good she is. But that's what happened to me, man. My dad came. He got the word that, hey, somebody was abusing or mistreating his kids. And he immediately, boom, reacted and took us.
Yeah, your dad, great man. He's a
Great man.
Great
And like
man.
I said, she could have did everything. She was a custodial. I mean, they weren't separated at the time. They ended up being separated after that incident. But she could have been considered the custodial parent. And he just said, you know what? Nah, I'm the custodial now. Now you got to fight me to get these kids back.
And there was no fight.
No fight. I remember talking. The next time I talked to my mom, I remember talking to her on the phone for a brief second. And I didn't even understand what she was saying because I was a little kid. I didn't see my mom until I was 18 years old. She came down for my graduation. You saw her.
Yeah, I did.
She came down for my graduation. That was the first time I seen my mom and my little brother and my grandmother.
I didn't know that at the time, man. Wow.
Yeah, first time. Then I ended up going back with them to Ohio to visit. You know, I graduated. I wanted to visit my mom, see what's like out there. I was planning on going to Ohio State University at the time. I was excited. My dad, but before I went on that plane ride, my dad said, "Let me tell you about your mother." And my dad told me some terrible things. Right? I didn't want to believe it. I thought he was lying. So before you go out there, you need to know this, and that about your mother. And then he said, she's still your mother, but you have to be careful. But you're going to go out there and you're going to see why I took you. And I don't want you to be upset. I just want you to know. I go out there, and I kid you not, man. I start, I'm from a small town. You know, I was born in Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown, Ohio was not that, they knew my mother in Youngstown. My mother was known in Youngstown, Ohio. Yeah, she was known. Rest in peace now. My mother just passed away last month. September 20th something. She died of cancer, stage 4 cancer. But I found out, man, that she wasn't a good person. And it crushed me. Because I thought I was going to get this unconditional love that I never received. I thought I was going to get this mother figure that I always wanted. I thought that, man, having a mother was going to be the greatest thing in the world, man. I thought, I thought my dad was so strict. I thought he was, I thought all these things, man. I thought, man, I don't want to be like my dad. I want to be like my mom. Never knowing who my mother was. I didn't want to look. I don't know if you remember, but I didn't even want to look like my dad. Remember, I said, man, I look like my mother. I don't look like my dad. I said, I don't look like my dad. Now, I see whatever. Now, I can see my dad in me. People say, man, you look just like your dad. I'm like, man, I don't look like my dad. I look like my mom. My sister looks like my dad. I don't look like him. Only to find out that, man, I owe this man not only my life, but literally my life, because I could have died in her care. I could have been abused. Mm-hmm. I could have been the M word, right? I could have been, so many things could have happened under her watch. And my dad saved me. The non-custodial parent became the custodial parent, said, you know what? I got to get my kids. And we moved to California.
That's unheard of, right? It was a father. Yeah. It was an actual father.
Yeah. That's why I'm so big on fathers. That's why I don't always big up mothers, because I know the dirt. I had a stepmother. I know the dirt that these women do. I know the selfishness, right? I had a stepmother from like 4 years old to around 8 or 9. This woman was not a good woman. When my dad would leave and go to work, she would abuse me and hit me and beat me, almost till I pass out. And this happened quite often, 2, 3, 4 times a week. But one thing I was thankful for is I always told my dad. My dad was my protector. I wasn't, she would beat me and I would go and tell my dad and they would get in an argument. My dad was my protector. And every time she would do something that she wasn't supposed to do, I'd go tell my dad. And my dad would get on her. What are you doing to my son? Boom, boom, boom. And this went on for many, many years until they finally split up and broke. But here's another thing. My dad went to court. I had a little sister. I have a half sister by my stepmother. My dad went to court with no lawyer. No lawyer. Only anecdotal evidence. I remember getting on the stand and speaking about the times that my mother used to hit me and abuse me. My dad got full custody of my little sister. That's unheard of. To have it happened in California with no lawyer. She had a lawyer. My dad didn't have a lawyer. He went to that court and fought for my little sister, and he won. My dad didn't have to pay no child support. And you know what my dad did? He never once tried to turn my little sister against her mother. He never once denied my little sister access to her mother. She got to decide who she wanted to stay with. I remember one day my little sister asked to live with her mother. She didn't want to live here. She didn't want to live with us anymore. She wanted to live with her mother. She was old enough. She was like 12 or something like that. So my dad said, go stay with your mother. It's okay. If you need me, I'm here, baby. He didn't even get mad. My little sister, from living with her mother, she realized that how much she missed her dad and wanted to be with her dad. So that's the thing about that. That's the reason why this is close to my heart. That's why your message about the non-custodial parent, the narcissistic custodial parent, is so real. Because you don't usually see men fighting for their children.
Right.
Matter of fact, men start giving up. The court systems are so bad. It costs so much money that men just give up sometimes. They say, you know what, man, keep those kids.
Yeah.
I'll just pay you the money and I'll never see you or them damn kids again.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the harm that they're doing to the children. Both sides. The man that gives up and the woman that's being malicious. You don't understand. You could be saving that child's life. I have a younger brother, and I'm not going to put him out there like that, but he was raised by my mother. I love my brother. I love him dearly. But his mother did him wrong. His mother turned him into a son husband. His mother used him and abused him. His mother allowed him to be abused. Okay? She wasn't his protector. She used my little brother like a utility, like a resource. That's what single mothers, not all of them, but the majority of them do. They use their children as utility. They emasculate the men early. Turn them into son husbands. My little brother couldn't even travel because he felt like he had to be around his mama. My little brother couldn't even leave Ohio because he felt like he had to be around his mother. He would leave and then he would be called back. That's the malicious. That's the product of malicious parent syndrome.
Yeah.
That's why you got to protect these kids. That's why you got to fight for your kids.
Of course.
That's why you got to go above them, because you don't know what could happen to that baby when you're not there to protect them.
Of course. True fact.
They need both their parents, not just one. And they for damn sure need the man. You cannot keep the man out the equation, single mother. You cannot kick the man out of the house, single mother. Your child's life and advantage point depends on it. You really want to love your kids? You really want to give them all the advantages that they can ever have? Make sure they have both their parents.
Make sure.
Make sure.
Fact.
Make sure they have both their parents.
Fact.
Make sure give that man every opportunity not to be in their life. Don't give them an excuse. Don't give them a reason why they shouldn't be. Give them reasons why they should be in their life. Put it on the man to reject the child. You don't reject the child from the man, and vice versa.
Very powerful.
And vice versa.
Very powerful.
True fact. Vice versa. And if you a real one, you a real woman, you won't get the courts involved at all. You just work it out at an arrangement. Because you know how these courts are. It's a money grab. If you're a real one, you allow that man to be a father without the courts involved. You only get the courts involved if needed, but you don't get the courts involved in the beginning. You work it out. You come to an agreement. You sit there and you hash it out across. You say, okay, I feel like this, I feel like that, but. And most important, man, and this is my message to all men. Stop having babies with these toxic women so you don't got to go through it. Sure. When you see that she's toxic, leave her alone. Sure. Matter of fact, I don't even mess with modern women. Matter of fact, I don't even mess with women from the U.S. because they're mostly modern. Get your passport, my brother. I'm not saying it can't happen to you overseas, but it's less likely to. And you'll be in more control over that child than you have over here. Because the child court actually favors the man in most of these other countries. So, man, we're about to wrap it up. This was a very, very powerful show today. I appreciate you sharing your life, your experience with us. Man, I want you to shout out your channel and tell us again what your channel is about. And tell us, when are you going to be when can we expect to see when is your regular program? When are you on? When can we watch you? Can we watch you live? Tell us again about your channel, where to find you, and what kind of shows you're going to put on there. You're gonna upload, and when you're going to, and most importantly, when are you going to be broadcasting? So
the show is I Cease to Pretty Please. My name is Jesse Calligraphy Jones, as I said before. I gotta work it out. I gotta work my schedule out to when I'll be broadcasting. More than likely, it's gonna be tonight. I mainly do nights because I work during the day. But thank you. I wanted to say thank you so much, Too Much Moxie. I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate this channel. I think this is my second or third time coming on, and I love it. I love what you're doing. I love how realistic it is. I see you were asking me about different questions, man. Ask me anything, man. Ask me anything pertaining to this. If I can help someone out, I don't care if I have to break down, if I have to take a second to think, if I have to, no matter what it is, man. I want to give you facts because you give me facts and you ask me real questions. And I love it, man. So
man, we're gonna get you on again, man. This isn't the last time we can talk about it, man. I'm gonna do more reviews on your channel, man, because your channel, to me, your channel is more important than mine because you're talking about an issue that is really affecting men tough today. Now, I'm not downplaying my channel. Provider stress syndrome is real. Men are suffering. I want men to get this game, get this ism, get this real, this real truth. and I want them to walk in. I want them to be intentional. I want them to be a better version of themselves. You know, I want them to be getting to the bag. I want them to be focused on their work, not on these women. You know, that's important. But I also don't want them to get caught up in the family court. I also don't want them to be a baby daddy. I also don't want them to be suffering from malicious parent syndrome, or we're going through what you're going through. Because I see what you're going through, brother, and it hurts me, man, because I know you want to do more.
Far more, right?
I know you want to do more.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And you're my best friend, right? So I see the things that you're going through, man. I'd be like, man, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right. I see how busy you are. I see how resources are going here, resources going there, but I also see that you still thriving. I also see you ain't walking around here like you're broke. You're walking around here like you know you're still doing what you need to do, and I respect that, brother. I respect that. Not have having 3 baby mamas and still walking with your head up high and still being able to do what you want to do, still being a man.
Of course,
that's the thing. I want men to be men unapologetically.
Of course.
You know, learn from my brothers, learn from my, I learned from, but let's be real, man. We grew up, I learned from watching you just like you learned from watching me.
Absolutely.
When I seen what was going through you, I said, man, I don't want that to happen to me. Yep. So I said, I better not do that.
I'm glad. I'm glad I helped you through it.
I'm like, damn, I don't want to get hit with that child. I don't want to get hit with that, nigga. I don't want to do it.
Stay tuned for my future mistakes. So you can
always
learn.
Like, man, let me watch these niggas, man. Let me watch these niggas do this, man, so I don't have to do it, man. Let me live vicariously through them so I don't have to live it for real. You know what I'm saying? Let me just do that. But nah, man, I see the pain, brother. Yeah. I see the pain, man, and I know the caliber dude you are. You're a thorough dude, man. This should not be happening to you. Some of it's your fault.
Yeah. Of course.
But you deal with it. You deal with it. You're accountable. That's one thing I love about you. You're accountable. You're not running from it. No. You didn't run from your mistakes.
No.
You took your kids. I remember when your son was born. I remember when your daughter was born, man. Yeah. You didn't run from it. No. You cried. You're like, oh, man, I got you pregnant. Oh, like, nigga, calm down. I remember you were stressing. Oh, she's pregnant. Hey, but I also saw you grow. Yeah. And I also saw you talking to my dad about these things. Yes. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to be straight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm actually glad you have my dad to talk to, man, because, I bet that kind of like, man, look, Mr. Maxey did it. Why can't I do it? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sure. And I get it, man. We all grow up wanting to be better than our parents, wanting to be better than our fathers. We don't, me, I didn't want to be like my dad. Now I'm happy that I am like him. I took on his integrity. I took on his directness in speaking. My dad, my dad was very, very straightforward to the point. He didn't speak, but if you speak to him about something he's interested about, he's going to talk to your ears off. I'm just like him. I speak less, but you get me on a topic like modern women or anything like that, or anything I can do to help somebody else, I'm gonna talk. So, man, we're gonna wrap this show up, man. This was a great show. Man, my community, man, I know y'all loving stuff like this. If y'all want to see more videos like this, man, let me know, man. Hit the like button, hit the share button, man. I'm not asking for any super chats. I'm not asking for any money, man. I'm just asking for simply likes, shares. Okay, that's all I want, man. We're on the road to 3K. We're trying to get to 5K before the end of this year, man. We're at 2.7K subscribers right now, man. Hit the notification bell. We're coming up. We got another show tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna do part 2 to what we did to our yesterday's broadcast. We're calling this one Narcissistic Mothers. Okay, so we're staying on that custodial, non-custodial path. We're just talking more about these, how to avoid these narcissistic women and how to deal with narcissistic mothers. How do you deal with a narcissistic mother? I had one. I was just dang sure lucky she didn't raise me. Right. But I definitely had one. OK, so but we're going to talk about narcissistic mothers, how to deal with them. We're going to bring back up Big Walter Downing. We're gonna bring up
Whoa.
Mama Rex. And man, if you're more than welcome to join the show anytime, man. You're more than welcome to join the panel anytime and
Thank
talk. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you're an expert, man. Your expertise is needed in this space, especially
Experience.
dealing with non-custodial, custodial parents. You know, just through anecdotal evidence, things that you're going through. You're definitely welcome to speak on narcissistic mothers and things like that, and how to deal with them, and so on and so forth on tomorrow's show, 10 a.m. live, Pacific Standard Time. We're talking about narcissistic mothers and how to deal with them. This is the Too Much Moxie podcast, man. I am your humble host, and we are out. Peace.
Yeah, I feel like I joined